Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be doing another What's It Worth? And as you already know, we already covered the Gleaming Halloween sign, the white, and now the pink. And now in today's video, we're going to be covering what's sitting right behind me, being none other than finally the Gleaming Halloween Black Duskit. But before we get straight into all the information, I'll give a major shoutouts to Ash SM for actually lending this to me. Here's your Roblox profile, so major shoutouts to you. Without going straight into all the value and demand, I want you guys to keep everything I say with a grain of salt, as all of this information is subject to change and can honestly change at any point granted in time. That being said, we can see this demand being around great demand with about the same GR as the current Gleaming Halloween White, which is going to be around almost 30 GR the lowest, with about almost 45 GR the max. Some people may try to OP, but it's very, very unlikely, so just keep that in mind. That being said, let's get straight to the trading process. Alright, let's go to the chat and type in looking for offers on Black Gleaming Halloween Duskit. And boom, and now let's wait for offers. Alright, and our first shooter request is coming from AKR PB, so let's see what AKR has to share with us today. Alright, so we start off with a Gamma Halloween Sea Drink, Pure Nimble. It does seem like this may be AKR's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. Alright, and I did just confirm with AKR, who did just say yes, as in this is their final offer. So with this being said, is this trade worth it? This trade is going to be a major thumbs up. Do keep in mind that although Dractus may drop, and when I say drop, it's going to probably stabilize just like how the Duskits have, it's still going to be better in the long run for the time being, just because of the fact that at the moment we can see this being around almost 50 to 55 GR at the very best, and it does have decent demand to about good demand. With that being said, not too much else to say, and let's get into our next trade. Alright, and the next trade request is coming from Silent Void, so let's see what Silent has to share with us today. Alright, and starting off things straight, we have a Gleaming Halloween Black Duskit, but it's going to be Foolish Nimble, along with a Gleam Ikazune, Pure Nimble, a Gamma Zulong, Foolish Nimble, Gamma Infernix, Feral Clever, a Gleaming Halloween Hoganosh, Pure Smart, Gleaming Halloween Wild Owl, Pure Nimble, a Gleam Pure Mind, Feral Smart, and it's also going to be Idiosyncratic, another Gleam Halloween Wild Owl, Robust Clumsy, a Gleam Halloween Kapoink, Pure Robust, and an SA Valentine's Fan Cub, Robust, Clever, and very sluggish. And it does seem like this may be Silent's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. Alright, and so I did just confirm with Silent, who did just say for the views, but good luck. That being stated, we do have the Black Duskit, we do have the Gleam Ikazune, the Gamma Infernix, and the Gleam Halloween Wild Owl. Is this trade worth it? Personally speaking, I will say this is going to be an E. Main reason I say E is because of the fact that we are working with a Foolish Nimble Gleaming Halloween Black Duskit. Therefore, the ads in this case will actually help to push towards a little closer towards that E range. Therefore, I would say this is an E, but not the strongest E. Or closer to an L, but realistically speaking, it's just about the same, but a little under. Would I take this trade? Personally speaking, I don't downgrade necessarily, so that's just me, but some people may actually like this, so it's gonna go from person to person. That being said, personally, we'll give this an E, as I did say before. And with this being said, let's get into our next trade. Alright, and the next trade request is coming from Awesome Programmer Ice. Let's see what Awesome has to share with us today. Alright, so we start off with a Gamma Venolin, Pure Nimble, Gamma Tunderlin, Indifferent, a Gamma Harvestinct, Pure Nimble, Gleam Pure Mind, Pure Nimble, and it's also gonna be Temper, Gleam Mecha Ikazune, Pure Smart, and it's also gonna be rechargeable. And it does seem like this may be Awesome's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. Alright, so Awesome did just throw in the offer, being all those four Loomians we did mention earlier. So with this being said, is this trade worth it? Unfortunately, this trade is going to push towards a thumbs down. Do keep in mind that the Gamma Vari lines are going to be around almost 2 GR with bad demand, as well as for the Gamma Harvestinct, although that has gone a little bit higher just because of the Metronet raid, that is only capped about so much. Unless its PvP stats are really great and it's meant for PvP, Gamma Harvestinct in this case won't be viable. That being stated, it's going to be around just about 2 GR, maybe 2.3 GR at the very best with bad demand. And as we did state in previous videos, for the Gleam Mecha Ikazune, we can see this being around almost 0.7 to 0.8 GR. Since this one is rechargeable, though be it does have bad demand. And with that being said, let's get into our next trade. Alright, and the next trade request is coming from Sign Up for Free 42, so let's see what Sign Up has to trade with us today. So we start off with a Gamma Christmas Gargolem, Pure Nimble, 3 Gleam Christmas Protagons, one being green Pure Nimble, another one being yellow Pure Nimble, and the last one being pink Pure Nimble, a Gamma Cyan Icicle Pure Nimble, a Gleam Protagon Pure Nimble, Gamma Halloween Bun Puff Pure Nimble, Gamma Tyrex Pure Brony, a Gamma Halloween Wild Owl Pure Nimble. It does seem like this may be Sign Up's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. Alright, and I did just confirm with Sign Up, who did just say yes, as in this is their final offer. So with this being said, is this trade worth it? Personally speaking, this trade is going to push towards an E/W. The main reason I say E/W is mainly because of the fact that in the long run, this may not be the best trade, but as of now, this is going to be a great trade to take, mainly because of the fact that the Gargolem in this question is going to be around almost 35 GR with great demand. The Gamma Halloween Bump Puff around almost 12 GR with solid demand. Gamma Tyrex should be just about almost 2 GR with decently OP demand. I would say more or less it's going to be more closer to great demand because not a lot of people have been putting this in offers, but I would still say this is great overall. For the Gleam Protagon, it doesn't have the strongest demand, but then again, it is a Gleam Protagon that we're working with, so we can see this being almost 2.2 GR with decent demand. Overall, this is a good trade to take for now, and I would definitely say maybe in the long run, if the Gleaming Halloween Duskits do somehow rise, maybe in like a few years, it's not going to be a great trade, all right? But realistically speaking, that's not going to be for a long while. So as of now, we'll say this is a W and a thumbs up. So that being said, let's get into our next and potentially final trade. All right, and the next and final trade trade request is coming from Recoil Flash. So let's see what Recoil has to share with us today. We start off with a Gamma Wobblisk, pure nimble, a Gamma Gleaming, pure nimble, Gleaming Halloween Red Dakota, pure nimble, Gleam Santa Duskit, pure nimble, a Gleam Noli Metron, pure nimble, and it does seem like this may be Recoil's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. Alright, and I did just confirm with Recoil, who did just say yes, whether or not this is their final offer or not. So that being said, we do have our final offer here. So is this trade worth it? We do have to keep in mind, first things first, that the Gleam Noli Metron is going to be around almost 9 GR with good to great demand. And almost the same thing could be said about the Santa Duskit. However, for the main difference, it'll be decent demand. For the red Gleaming Halloween Dakota, we can see that being around almost 12 GR, maybe 11 GR with bad demand. For the Gamma Wobblisk, we can easily see that being about almost 25 GR, though be it will have bad demand. And as for Gamma Gleaming, this should be about almost 17 GR with decent demand. If this were robust or clever, this should be great demand, but since it is pure nimble, it will be decent demand. That being said, this trade will lean more towards being almost an E. The main reason I say almost an E is just because of the fact that Wobblisk has bad demand, Santa Duskit could be better, and the Gleaming Halloween Dakota isn't the strongest demand. However, stuff like the Gleam Noli Metron and the Gamma Gleaming provide a decent amount of GR with demand at the same time. So overall, this would be an E, not the strongest E though, keep in mind, I will say that. Although all this information now accounted for, let's conclude this trade. Alrighty guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, and join our Discord server. While you're at it, go join Reliable Values, as it states, it's pretty reliable. And not only just that, but Reliable Values, aka RV, has hit 1,000 members for our little giveaway goal. At the time of recording, this is almost back to back with the Gleaming Halloween Pink Duskit video, so just bear that in mind. But overall, we're pretty much about 2-3 subs away from that giveaway. So if we haven't already hit it, what are you doing? Go make sure to subscribe right now. While you're at it, go check out my TikTok, because yes, Unctus posts on TikTok, so please make sure to go follow and check out any of the videos. I know I do post some of the videos I post from here on there, but still, regardless, watch it. Additionally, and one last thing before we end this off, make sure to go cop some merch and be on the lookout for any of our Gleaming Halloween Duskit and Noli merch that'll be dropping relatively soon. That being said, remember pineapples are vegetables. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, stay safe, peace.